welcome everyone. My name is Jason Rogers, and I am a librarian here with the Tampa Hillsborough County Public Libraries. And this evening we will have our final session of Computer Science Education Week. Ms. Tanisha Behringer, a library staff member with the library, is going to be your presenter today. Computer Science Education Week does run this year from December 7th all the way through December 13th. This is also the very last day of our fall reading celebration and campaign. So please mark all of your reading. Make sure that you've downloaded all of your badges and you've shared that across all your platforms. We are so excited that you're here. I'm going to turn it over to Tanisha Behringer, and you're going to have some fun.
All right, good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Tanisha. Hopefully you've been joining me all week for Computer Science Education Week. This is the last program of the series, and I am so excited to be bringing this to the grown-ups. So the last one I decided to end on a high note with some stuff for the adults. So today we'll be going over coding resources for adults. So I'm going to go ahead and dive on in. Of course, if you have any questions while we're in the live session, please put them in the questions tab. I'm going to be so excited to answer those at the end. Also, all of the resources that we are talking about today are available as a handout. So don't have to worry about scribbling stuff down. You don't have to worry about, oh, wait, what resource did she say? If you look in your control panel under handouts, all of the resources that we'll be talking about today are there. It is a PDF. All of those links are live, which means that you can just click right on them. You can download it to your tablet or your desktop. You can click right on them and go right to all of the resources. So before we jump into all of the lovely resources we'll be discussing, I actually want to ask our audience a question. So I'm going to take myself off camera so we can go ahead and jump in. So I want to ask our audience, why do you want to learn coding? So we got three options. You could select more than one. So you could select all of them, two of them, one of them. But whether or not you want to learn a new skill, better job opportunities, or it looks like fun, you can select all three. You can select just one. You can select two. Whatever makes sense for you. And I just want to get an idea of everybody who's watching why they are interested in coding. And I'm going to leave a few more seconds for everybody to answer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it. So let's see why our audience this evening is interested in learning about coding. All right, so that's awesome. So it looks like we have a variety of reasons why people are interested. So it looks like everyone wants to learn a new skill and better job opportunities. And hopefully everybody thinks coding is fun if you're looking into it. But before we jump into the resources, I'm so glad that we brought that up, because I am going to talk a little bit about the reasons why you should and should not be learning about coding. So let's go ahead and hide those results, and my screen's back up, and let's jump in. So if you've been with me all week, you are very much aware of code.org. So Computer Science Education Week is sponsored by code.org. They're also the home of Hour of Code. If you have children or know any children in your life, it's a wonderful way to introduce children to coding. I cannot recommend this website highly enough. Code.org, easy to remember. Definitely geared towards kids. It's all the way from kindergarten to high school, 12th grade, K through 12. Bunch of different coding resources there for you. So let's talk about why grown-ups should and should not learn coding. So one of the biggest reasons that it sharpens your problem-solving skills. If you attended my Coding Stuff Youth Edition yesterday, I stressed the importance of coding for computational thinking and problem-solving. So when I'm talking about it in terms of why children should learn, it was for those two reasons. It's actually the same reason for adults. It really does sharpen your problem-solving skills. So even if your job has nothing to do with computer science, on the surface, my job has nothing to do with computer science, but in putting together coding classes for kids, even that has sharpened my problem-solving skills. So for instance, earlier this week, I was coding a dance party. Well, I had to figure out how the dinosaurs were going to dance. So it definitely sharpened my problem-solving skills. Second reason, it's fun. I think coding is a lot of fun. Again, I got to code a dinosaur dance party for work. It doesn't get more fun than that. It's a really, really fun thing to do. It's just really fun for you to be able to manipulate something and to turn it into something you want. It's really a lot of fun. And of course, it seems like the reason why everybody is here this evening, coding could lead to better job opportunities. That is absolutely correct. It can lead to better job opportunities, but, and I said but, really, really big. First reason being, carefully consider why you want to learn how to code. So coding, people, coding is a buzzword right now. Everybody's like, well, coding is where it's at. Coding is the future. Coding is this, coding is that. But coding covers a wide variety of things. And you also need to have a general interest in it, because you don't want to learn how to do something that you hate. So this is why classes like this and learning about the free and some that aren't so free but still are helpful resources that are out there, so you can see if coding is something that you're really truly interested in before you invest a ton of money and time into learning how to code to get a better job. Second reason is learning to code isn't an automatic ticket to economic prosperity. So as I was putting together the research for this class, I did notice there's a lot of articles, of course, tons and tons and tons of articles touting the benefits of learning how to code. But there were also quite a few that were touting like not necessarily disadvantages, but kind of debunking the idea that learning how to code is an automatic ticket to economic prosperity. Can it get you more money? Of course, but there's a lot of different professions out there and a lot of different skills that can net you more money. And coding isn't necessarily the only way to gain more money, or it's not necessarily going to lead to better job opportunities. For example, there are lawyers out there that don't make very much money. So it can help, but it's not an automatic, you will automatically, make a ton of money. Like not everybody who learns how to code becomes a Mark Zuckerberg or a Elon Musk, just as an example. There is a lot of income disparity in the field of coding. And last but not least, coding, and I put it in air quote, or I'm doing air quotes, you guys can't see me, but you noticed I put it in quotes, is kind of a loaded term. What this means is there's a lot of different things that fall under the umbrella of coding. So for example, do you want to learn how to make a website? Do you want to learn how to make an app? Do you want to learn how to make a video game? There's so many different disciplines that fall under the term. Do you want to be an engineer? There's so many different disciplines that fall under the term of coding. So that's why it's really important to take some time and to do some research and to take some free classes to see what makes sense for you. So you might start on a class for HTML and think HTML is boring, but you might take a Swift class and be like, I really like Swift, which is a coding language for apps, and that may be the direction that you want to go. So you definitely want to, if you are considering a career that involves coding, you definitely want to do your research before you jump into that career. And I thought about this at the last minute, but I am going to go ahead and verbally say it. The other issue with coding is that coding languages, they don't, some have a long shelf life, but as we know, technology is always changing. I can remember when I first started working for the library system 10 years ago, the buzzword at the time was Excel. You have to learn Excel. Everybody needs to learn Excel. Excel is where it's at. You have to learn Excel. We had so many people attending our Excel classes when I first started with the system in 2010, because that was the buzzword skill to have. Let's fast forward to 2020. And as I was discussing with Jason earlier, I use Excel daily. I use Excel every day. But just to be completely frank and honest, the more complicated functions that I need, if I need a more complicated function, I just Google it. So there's not necessarily this need to know all of the ins and outs of how Excel works. I just need to know the basics and to know how to find the other things that I need. So that's just something else to keep in mind with coding, is that it's constantly evolving and you're constantly needing to sharpen your skills. And a language that you may learn, 1 year may become obsolete the next. So with all of that said, let's look at our resources. So before we, do like a brief introduction, and I am going to visit the web pages of all of these resources, but before we take a deeper, and please, all your questions, I will be answering at the end. I'm definitely going to leave time for questions. So please, if you have any questions, go ahead and get them ready, because I'm so excited to answer them. So the one thing with coding resources for adults is, as you can imagine, a lot of them are geared towards careers. So that being said, a lot of them are paid. So I did find some free options for you, but just keep in mind, if you want, and definitely if you want any type of professional certification, you will definitely have to pay for that. There is no free professional certification that exists. So I did put together a wide variety. So some that are free, that are more like, let me get my feet wet, some that are more advanced, and some that could lead you to a certification, to a professional certification. So let's go ahead and dive in. And also, this page here that is currently on your screen, that is the one that I have made available as a handout. So again, just want to make that plug. It is available as a handout. So the first resource we are going to look at is one called Grasshopper. Grasshopper is completely free, and it is a wonderful introduction for true beginners. So if you really don't know very much about coding and you just want to get an idea of what it means and what it is and how it works, this is an amazing resource for you. So let's jump over to our browser. And we're in Grasshopper. Let me just move this here. Gotta move something over real quick. So you'll see is the coding app for beginners. So it is available as an app. It's available in the Android and Apple Store. So it's available as an app, and it's also available on your desktop. And I am just going to go to, oops, I think I went too far. The curriculum tab. So you can get an idea of what they have to offer. So on the left-hand side of your screen here, you'll see they have fundamentals. They have also a tab on interviewing, how to do the technical interview if you are doing a coding interview. They also have an introduction to web pages. So animations, how to make basic animations. So it has a lot of really awesome fundamentals to coding. And again, this resource is completely free. So this is a wonderful resource if you are brand new, brand spanking new to coding, and you just want to see what it's about. So, it's no pressure, it's free, you can, do it at your leisure. It's a really awesome introductory resource. So the second one I want to talk to, and this one's been around for a while. In fact, when I first started doing tech classes with the library, I personally used Code Academy to help me learn some coding. So the second one is Code Academy, which is free with paid options. So they do offer some free courses, but there are quite a few that you do have to pay for. So let's go ahead and take a look at Code Academy. So as you can see, pretty nice, simple web page here. We're going to go to their course catalog so we can get an idea of what they have to offer. One of the things that I really like about Code Academy is they make it obvious up front what classes are free and what classes are not. So any of the ones that have pro means that you have to pay for it, but all of the ones that do not means that you can take them. Now, and I should have mentioned this up front, but a lot of them have you create an account. But as you know, creating an account for a lot of these resources is just an email address and a password. So you can see you could do HTML, you can do JavaScript. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. Let's see, they got some data science ones, they got some more regular Java, they have a Welcome to Code Academy. So they have a lot of classes that you can take. You can also purchase the pro version and you have access to other classes. However, especially if you are taking these courses just to get an idea and just for general knowledge, we have another resource that I think will be very beneficial to you. And if you have gone to any library tech class within the past 5 years, you have probably heard one of us mention Lynda.com. I personally love Lynda.com. I have used it extensively for my not only for my personal enrichment, for my job here at the library. They have a bunch of really wonderful classes, and it depending on, it's Lynda.com by LinkedIn Learning or LinkedIn Learning by Lynda.com. They're in the middle of a rebranding because they are owned by LinkedIn. And normally you would have to pay for this resource, but if you have a library card, or if you don't, you should definitely work on getting a library card. It is completely free with your library card. So let's take a look at lynda.com. I love lynda.com. So if you want to access it for free with your library card, you're going to go to our website, which is hcplc.org, and you're going to click on that Learning and Research tab and look for online classes. All right, so just gonna have to put my library card number in real quick. Thought I was already logged in. All right, so you can see here some of the classes that I've taken. I did a digital citizenship class that I put together a few years ago. I had to learn some iMovie stuff so you can see some of the classes that I've personally taken. Let's take a look. Oops, I didn't mean to click on that. Let's take a look at the developer classes they have. So you can see here under software, all of the classes that they have available for you to take on all of these different softwares. And you can see here, it tells you how long the course is, and you don't have to sit still for, like, for instance, the Programming Foundations Fundamentals one, it's 2 hours and 14 minutes. It's broken up into several different parts. So a lot of the parts are between 2 and like 10 minutes. So it's very, very manageable. You can stop it when you need to, you can go. You can basically do this on the go. You can do it on the run. You can also have access to lynda.com for free with the app as well now. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful resource for personal enrichment. I don't know if you noticed when we looked at the library, but all of these classes are available too. So if you're already in the work, and I'm scrolling fast just so you can get an idea of how many, and this is even all the classes. These are just all of the different fields. So you can see here with photography, there are 853 classes dealing with photography. So this is just a wonderful resource for personal enrichment, for job enrichment. It is just, I love lynda.com so much. Sorry, I will stop. I will get off my lynda.com soapbox so we can roll on to the other resources. All right, so now after we explore some of our free stuff, now I'm going to get into the paid versions. So with these last two, these are definitely geared towards people who are actively seeking a certification or some type of professional certificate in coding. So you already know, like, I already made up my mind. I know I want to learn Swift. I know I want to learn JavaScript. I know I want to learn this. These classes, these last two resources I'm going to discuss are definitely geared towards working on getting that professional certification. So the first one that I want to mention is one called Coursera. So Coursera, I think it's been like advertised, like I know I've heard about Coursera on some podcasts. So let's jump in and take a look at Coursera. So I am going to go to their Explore tab. I'm going to go to their Computer Science tab. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And so you can see all of the different computer science classes they have. And now this is, I'm going to click on the Python for everybody. So this is the cool thing, and the thing that I liked about Coursera is, as you noticed, the course is offered by the University of Michigan. So that means that you're getting a university level course. Now, I'm going to go into what exactly that means. So hold that thought for a minute, but you can get university level classes to help you in your coding journey and learning how to code. Now, Coursera offers professional certifications and a generic certification. So with a lot of these websites and a lot of these online learning platforms, and lynda.com does the same thing, it'll print you out and I'm doing air quotes at home right now, certificate of completion. But to be 100% honest, those certificates I don't want to say they don't mean anything, because you did complete the coursework, but they're not the same. Like, you can't put those on the education field of your resume, for instance. I mean, it's a great enrichment. And for instance, when I do my training for the library, I do have to show that certificate to my supervisor so they know that I did take, you know, like, oh, I'm spending the time doing iMovie. So I have to have their certificate saying that I spent that time doing iMovie. So it's used in that way, but the certificate that they give you is not the same as a professional certificate. So we're going to talk about that here a little bit more. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom so I can go to Coursera's About page, because they break down the difference between their different courses. So they've mentioned here their courses are meant for you to learn something new. Their guided projects are the same thing, where you learn something new. Specializations, so you can master a skill. And then you'll notice they have professional certificates. So these are the ones that are higher education level actual certificates. So these are a great supplement. For instance, if you already have a degree in something else, you may not even need a degree necessarily, depending on the specification of the job you're looking for. But it's a professional certificate that can go under that line item of your resume, saying that you spent the time completing this coursework in a certain field. And that's going to make a little bit more sense when we go to our next resource. But as I mentioned before, let me scroll back up. As I mentioned before, Coursera, is definitely a paid resource. They have a few things that are free, but the overwhelming majority of the courses that you would take, you do need to pay for. As you notice, if you're getting a professional certification via the University of Michigan, for instance, you're going to have to pay for that. And because these courses, even if it's not a professional certificate, even if it is just a personal enrichment class, because they're being offered by universities, there has to be a cost in there somewhere. But it is a wonderful resource if you are ready to begin your professional coding journey and you need to get that experience and those skills. And last but not least is, of course, we got to go to our local stuff, Hillsborough Community College. So again, this is a wonderful thing to think about if you are ready to get those professional certifications when it comes to coding. It's tried but true. Community college are wonderful at that, and they're also very cost effective. So if you're looking for a lower cost, option to be able to get those certifications done, it is a wonderful way to go. You may already be familiar with community colleges being a nice cost-effective way to get your prerequisites done before you jump into your major. It's a wonderful thing too for your degrees and certificates. So you'll notice here some of them aren't coding related, but you have your computer programming specialist, your database administrator, game authoring. So you can see how you can go to your local community college, and I'm going to click on the computer programming one, and you can get your professional certification completed. And again, this professional certification is something that you could put on the education line item of your resume. As you can see here, it's 18 credit hours, so you are taking a college course. This is course credit. It definitely counts. So it's 18 credit hours, and you can see how that works. So it's wonderful, just something to think in the back of your head if you're looking for that professional certification. Of course, with the way that education is right now, even degrees and certification programs that used to be in person, like the vast majority of them have moved online for obvious reasons. So you'll be able to complete this from the comfort of your own home. And I have left some time for questions. So please drop those questions into the questions tab. I am so happy to answer them. I'm going to put myself back on camera so that we can take some questions. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or anything, let me know.
So, Ms. Tanisha, I don't see any questions so far. Hopefully people are typing them in. One of the questions I had as you were going through was some of those certifications through Lynda.com or Coursera, could those be used for continuing education credits for people like teachers or nurses, or if you have those, would any of those be available?
That is a big fat it depends. If you are looking for any type of continuing education course, definitely check with your employer to see what counts. Again, I mentioned with the library and with working for the county that the trainings that I did through lynda.com counted towards my training hours, because as a county employee, I have to have a certain number of training hours per year. So those courses counted as training hours for me. So I could use them in my job to get those training hours, but that is definitely an ask your employer question. The professional certificates are the same thing as taking a college course. So you can definitely put those on your resume as, you know, I took courses in computer programming, I took courses in XYZ. So for some of the, so for like the lynda.com classes and the Coursera classes that aren't professional certificates, usually those are used as like continuing it or like training hours for your job.
Awesome. Another question I had, because again, nothing's come through, was I noticed a price point while you were going through, I believe it was Coursera, and it was $39 a month. That's very cheap compared to get education from University of Michigan, or I also saw Stanford up there and Yale. Those are some very big names at $39 a month. That's super cheap.
Yes, and that's why I put that on there, because I wanted to also, you know, just know that there are a lot of cost-effective resources out there to help you sharpen your skills. And I know that we're talking about coding tonight, but you may have noticed as I was scrolling through that there were a bunch of other classes on a plethora of things. I mean, there were so many things that you could get those continuing education credits. The same thing with Lynda. And I mean, I kind of am plugging lynda.com a lot because it is a library resource that we pay for to bring to you guys, and I personally love it. But the same thing with Lynda. Like, I mean, I used it for a lot of tech adjacent classes, but I've also used lynda.com for other things that weren't tech related. They just have some wonderful courses. A great example with lynda.com is they have a working from home course. And I know that may seem like no, you know, like, well, you need a course of working from home. But the whole concept of working from home after working in a physical library for 10 years was completely foreign to me. So to have to switch to a, you know, working at home format for a very public facing job, that course was extremely helpful in helping me, you know, readjust to my new normal of working at home. So wonderful resources. And Jason, as you mentioned, very cost effective. You know, it's a very cost-effective way to sharpen your skills and to really sharpen your skills in the workforce.
And very safe in this environment that we have right now, unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately.
And I know from personal experience, many people that have taken the route of going to a community college ahead of time and gotten an amazing foundation that will allow them to get multiple certifications, that have allowed them to get higher educational degrees that it doesn't have to end in an associate's degree. Just allowing it to move is really nice. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing about, you know, community colleges too, and with the professional certifications, the thing that I personally like about the professional certifications is that it doesn't require you to go get a whole brand new degree. So let's say, for instance, if you have a, I don't know, Jason, a music degree, or
Right.
if you have a political science degree, if you wanted to get into coding, you could go get your certifications, and that's just a foundation that builds onto your bachelor's degree that you have already. So you don't have to go and get a whole brand new degree in computer science. You can go ahead and take those certifications so you can check off, you know, that bachelor's degree requirement, and you can check off that, you know, coursework in computer programming.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, I think that's all for questions. Is that right, Jason?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So let's go ahead and go through the things that we always have at the end of our programs. If you need to contact us, you can contact us whatever way you can think of: phone, email, carrier pigeon, however you want to contact us, you definitely can. Programs and events. The library is also always offering you guys some wonderful programs and events. Check out our events calendar. And I'm going to do it one more time. I got to plug Lynda.com one more time. I also included the link to our online learning, so you can go ahead and check out Lynda.com.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tanisha. This was absolutely phenomenal. I've gotten quite a few thank yous through the questions. So
Thank you, guys.
I'm just going to say thank you. This was extremely helpful. And I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend and great holiday season coming up.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for joining me for Computer Science Education Week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.